to a brand new season of the Ask Aaron Anything NBA podcast. The almost daily, I'm not going to make any promises. I'm coming right out. First episode of the year saying, I'm not making any promises. I'm going to try to do this mostly every weekday, a few times a week. That's what it is. The NBA podcast from me, a comedian who loves the NBA and just wants to answer all your questions. Every question that you have about basketball, the NBA, players, mascots, mostly fighting from what I learned last year. Most of the questions that you have are fighting based. You want to know a lot about who would win in a fight of this player and that player, this mascot and that mascot, this fan and that coach. You want to know all the combinations of fights, and I'm here to answer you all about the fights of the NBA and anything else you want to know. Who am I? I'm just a comedian who wants to riff about the NBA every day and answer your questions, and am so lazy that I want to make my listeners come up with the topics that I talk about every day. That's a negative way to look at it, and I'm trying to be a more positive person, so let's put a better spin on it. I am a host that is not lazy. I am just concerned about creating a community of listeners and friends that feel like they're part of the show. So that's why I'm answering your questions about the NBA. Today is a glorious day. It's the start of a brand new season. Officially, basketball is back. It never really leaves us. It's always here. We go right from the finals to the draft, to summer league, to free agency, to the point of the year where we're just making up rumors about players and who is sleeping with whose ex-girlfriend or current girlfriend, and which players may or may not hate each other, and can they get along. And it's just like time, like sands through the hourglass. These are the days of our NBA lives. It is a soap opera day in and day out. And it's my stories, baby. I'm here to watch my stories, my NBA stories. And I'm here to answer your NBA questions. We're going to do a little bit of a season preview episode. I'm going to pick and choose some questions that were asked about the upcoming NBA season. The 2018-19 NBA season, one for the ages. That's my prediction. It's going to be one for the ages. Which age? This age, and all ages to follow. First question. Oh, by the way, you can ask me these questions on Twitter, on Facebook. You can DM me on Instagram, at Aaron Herzog. You can email me if you have my personal email address or have the savvy to do a Google search and find me online, aaronherzog.com. My email's posted there. It's aaron.herzog@gmail.com. You don't even have to look it up. There it is. Why would I try to hide it at all? You can have my email, aaron.herzog@gmail.com. You could have probably figured that out without looking it up. First.last@gmail.com. That's how you email anybody. You want to email LeBron James? lebron.james@gmail.com. It'll probably get to him, or someone who can get it to him. I'm not promising he'll answer, but that's the way to go. Just do it. Just try it. Shoot your shot. Shoot your Gmail shot. First question comes from Twitter. It comes from Jared Miller. Don't know Jared, but thanks for sending me your question. I hope I actually don't know Jared. If I do know Jared and saying that I don't, I apologize. But he wants to know what my boldest prediction for this season. It just says boldest prediction ? I'm assuming that means for this season. So I'm going to go with that. I have a few. I'm going to do a team-based. I'm going to do a player-based. And I'm not happy about either of them, but you're making me step out onto a bold platform and take a bold stance. And my first one has to do with which team is going to come out of the Eastern Conference this year. It's not going to be Boston, which makes me happy. It's not going to be the Philadelphia 76ers, which makes me sad as a Sixers fan. It's not going to be the Toronto Raptors. The Eastern Conference champions will be the Milwaukee Bucks. That's my bold team prediction. The Milwaukee Bucks, they've got a new coach. They've got a newly jacked as hell superstar in Giannis Antetokounmpo. I cannot say his name, but I can say that he is a fine-ass motherfucker. He somehow both bulked up this offseason and improved his jump shot, which just, that's not possible, but he did it. It is impossible. Nobody in the history of the world has gotten bulkier and also got a better jump shot. Anytime anybody adds muscle, they just start bricking shots because they don't know their own strength. They're too strong. Their form gets thrown off. They mess up something. For some reason, muscles equal you can't shoot a basketball anymore, except for Giannis. He figured it out. He figured out how to add muscle and get better at shooting a basketball, which should be the first thing anyone who plays basketball figured out. James Naismith should have, as soon as he invented basketball, he should have also figured out how to shoot a basketball and also be a strong person with muscles. But nobody until Giannis figured it out, and he did. And he's going to take the leap to become an even somehow bigger superstar than he already was and dominate games even more. They've got a new coach, Mike Budenholzer. He led the Hawks to a 60-win season a few years ago. The Atlanta Hawks, they should never win 60 games. It should take them 3 years to win 60 games, every 3 years. But somehow he did it in one season with a decent roster. And Milwaukee, and no superstars. Al Horford, is he a superstar? Paul Millsap? No, they're not superstars. They're solid players. They're borderline all-stars who get voted in over players that should be all-stars, like Joel Embiid. But they're no Giannis. And they've got a freakish supporting cast around them who can all shoot the basketball, who all have 9-foot wingspans and are 6'10" somehow. They're going to come out of the East. They pushed the Celtics to 7 games last year, and they're going to make a leap forward as a team, and they're going to come out of the Eastern Conference. That's my bold-ass team prediction for the 2018-19 season. My next bold prediction has to do with individual awards. Yeah, that's right. And it also does not make me happy as a Philadelphia 76ers fan to say that my super bold prediction is that the MVP of the league this year is going to be, I can't even say it, it's going to be Jason Tatum. He's going to win the MVP. Here's what's going to happen. The Celtics are going to win 65 games. They're the deepest team in the league, and the narrative, and he is going to emerge as the man. He's going to be their go-to guy, even with Hayward, even with Irving back. He is going to emerge in his second year as the man on a 65-win Celtics team, and the narrative is all going to put the Lakers aren't going to be good enough to give it to LeBron. The Rockets are going to take a step back, and nobody's going to want to give it to Harden again. The step back is going to get called to travel this time. Anthony Davis isn't going to be able to do enough to overcome the fact of Jason Tatum fever. It is very contagious. It's highly contagious. It's very dangerous. Anything that makes you want to root for the Celtics is a dangerous disease. And it almost makes me, Jason Tatum almost makes me like the Celtics. The whole Celtics team, it's blasphemy as a Sixers fan for me to say this, but if they were anybody other than the Celtics, I would love that team. They are a collection of players that I really want to like, but can't because they're from Boston. And I can't believe I just said that, and I'm going to upload it onto the internet for everybody to save forever. For everybody to know that I kind of a little bit want to like this Boston Celtics team. I feel really bad about saying that. It's, oof, ugh, yuck, right? I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry for saying that. I'm going to try to clean my palate by answering a question from Keenan Willis. It's a joke question, but I'm going to give a very serious answer. He asks Markelle Fultz, great Sixer or greatest Sixer? And I'm going to say he's the greatest Sixer. I am all in on Markelle Fultz. Why? Because I have to be as a Sixers fan. They traded that third pick that turned into Jason Tatum. They handed the Celtics another pick that's going to come from the Kings this year if it doesn't end up at number 1. I'm all in on Markelle Fultz. And when I say greatest Sixer, I mean he represents everything about that team right now. They were tanking. They were the laughingstock of the league. They've rebuilt themselves into a contender, and now they're trying to make that leap. Markelle Fultz, number 1 overall pick. He's got future league MVP Jason Tatum, who he was traded for, who he's always going to be compared to. He had the weirdest first season in the history of the NBA with this case of the yips in his shoulder and his not shooting, and his mom dating his coach, and did he forget how to play basketball, and does he eat too much Chick-fil-A? And if he turns it around, the Sixers turn it around. And for that reason, he is the greatest Sixer. He has to be. He represents everything about the turnaround of this team, the weirdness that involves everything around it, the uncertainty, people making fun of him, and where he goes, the Sixers go. He may not be their best player. He might not be their second best player. Hopefully he's their third best player. Hopefully he's no worse than their fourth best player. Maybe they'll sign a free agent in the offseason, and hopefully then he's no worse than their fifth best player. Look, there's a lot of question marks about Markelle Fultz, but for those reasons, he may only be the fifth best player on the team this year or next year, but he's the greatest Sixer in spirit. He's the greatest Philadelphia 76er in spirit, and I root for him 100%, unless they trade him, and then I'm like, all right, cool, thanks for your service. I wish you the best. I still kind of hope Jahlil Okafor does well, because that guy had a bad situation in Philadelphia, and then a bad situation in Brooklyn, and I hope he does well now as a backup in New Orleans. I still kind of root for that guy, even though he did absolutely nothing for the Sixers, but do some pretty things in the post sometimes. So I will always, Markelle Fultz will always have my heart. And I mean that, Markelle. I'm going to send you a Valentine's Day card every year saying, even though we may have drifted apart, I always think of you a little bit. You're always still there. You're always going to have a special place inside one of my ventricles. I think we got one more question for today. That comes from Ryan Gurian, RG, as you may know him, as I know him. He wants to know, can Brooklyn be this year's Indiana Pacers? And by that he means surprise team. You know, I really like kind of what Brooklyn has been doing, kind of taking a chance on players that been fizzing out elsewhere. They've got a good coach. I do not think that this year they make the leap. I don't think that they are the team that's going to come out and surprise somebody this year. Here's why they shouldn't be good this year. They should not try to be good this year. It's the first year in a while that they have their own draft pick, and they should maximize that. They should try to get somebody coming out. They should try to get a high draft pick. They should tank it up this year. Lean in. Add that to your young core. Maybe try to sign a big free agent, bring them to Brooklyn, and then make that transition next year. Be bad, Brooklyn. Be real bad. Be as bad as you can be. Be as bad as you want to be. Dennis Rodman it up. Date Madonna as a team. Ride bicycles. Write a book about how you broke your dick. That's a part of Dennis Rodman's book. I don't know if you know that. He talks about breaking his dick. Brooklyn, you should break your dick as a team. Just break it. Just go real hard, break it in half, and then get a first-round pick that recovers it and build you a brand new dick in Brooklyn. That's what you should do this year. Please, Brooklyn, break your dick for the sake of the future of your franchise. Who will be this year's surprise team? Nobody asks me that, but it's a side question that I'm asking myself based off Ryan's question. I don't know. I just said the Bucks are going to win the East. If that happens, that'll be pretty much a surprise. But they're already a playoff team. They're already a decent playoff team. So that's not as big of a surprise as the Pacers coming from seemingly nowhere to make the playoffs last year. So who could that possibly be this year? Would it be cheating to say the Dallas Mavericks? Because that's my thought. If you want to take a team that didn't make the playoffs last year, had a high draft pick, Dallas Mavericks, Luka Doncic, I believe in him. They added DeAndre Jordan. I think that they're going to surprise. I think they're going to be better this year in Dirk's final season. They're really going to try to win for Dirk, and I think they're going to be good. Dallas Mavericks are going to surprise a lot of people. They're going to be better than you might think that they're going to be. They're going to be fun to watch, and I think they're going to win games. I think they're going to push for the playoffs in the loaded Western Conference. And that's my answer to a question that I asked myself. And that's the podcast for today. Welcome back to the NBA season, everybody. I am so happy to be able to watch basketball every day and to talk to myself alone in my apartment with my cats, answering your questions. It makes me feel close to you. You know, keep those questions coming. Follow me on Twitter at Aaron Herzog. Send them on Facebook. Send them via email. Send them however you want. Subscribe to the podcast. Keep listening. I'm going to try to do this most days every week. And we're going to love this NBA season together. If you ask questions already, I'm going to get to them. We got a lot of days to go. This season's just getting started, baby. And we're in this for the long haul. Thanks for listening, you guys, and I will be back tomorrow. Do I promise it? Yeah. Yeah, that's a promise. I'll see you then.